Once upon a time, in a quiet forest, there lived a little nightingale whose song was pure and effortless. Every evening she sang beneath the moonlight, and the forest creatures gathered in silence to listen. Her voice carried joy, unforced and free. Until one night, a frog, jealous of the attention she received, decided to interfere. He told her she had talent, but only if she followed his guidance. Trusting his authority, the nightingale began to sing as the frog commanded, louder, longer, and harsher each night. She strained her voice, lost her natural melody, and grew weaker with every song. What was once music from the heart became a burden, until at last her strength gave way and the forest fell silent. The frog remained, but the nightingale's true song was gone forever. We might listen to that story and think it belongs to fables, far away from our lives. But if you sit with it for a moment, you may realize we are not so different from the nightingale. We begin with joy, curiosity, and freedom in how we live, work, and connect. Yet slowly, we let the frogs of the modern world, comparison, pressure, endless demands, creep into our minds. They tell us we're not enough as we are. They convince us to push harder, to prove ourselves, to stay visible, to keep performing. And just like the nightingale, we start to lose our natural rhythm. Today, for so many of us, that frog takes the form of technology. The constant pings of notifications, the silent pressure of social media, the invisible expectation that we must always be available. These voices shape how we live, until our own inner song feels drowned out. If you pause and look around, it becomes clear that technology has woven itself into every corner of our daily lives. We wake up, not to the rising sun, but to the glow of a screen. Before our feet even touch the floor, our thumb has already refreshed a feed, checked the overnight emails, or glanced at the latest news. For a brief second, it feels harmless, but that small ritual plants the first seed of unease. Did someone post something I missed? Am I falling behind? Who got ahead while I was asleep? The day has barely begun, yet the mind is already carrying weight. One of the most visible signs of this strain is the quiet anxiety that grows from social media comparison. You might log in just to relax for a moment, only to find yourself staring at someone else's highlight reel. Their vacation looks brighter, their achievements shinier, their friendships warmer. You weren't even thinking about your own life until 2 minutes ago, but suddenly it feels insufficient. The mind constantly tells you you're not doing enough, and you don't even notice the shift, the joy of connection turning into the sting of comparison. Another face of this strain is the fear of missing out. It sneaks in quietly, often when we're alone. You see photos of friends gathered without you, or headlines about opportunities you didn't chase, and suddenly your present moment feels hollow. Even when you're exactly where you want to be, that small ache begins. Maybe I should be somewhere else. Maybe I should be doing more. The fear of missing out doesn't just steal satisfaction. It corrodes presence. It makes you abandon the richness of where you are for the illusion of where you're not. And then there's the compulsive checking, the restless dance between apps, inboxes, and notifications. You pick up your phone without even realizing you're doing it. Sometimes you're not expecting anything new, but your hand moves as if on autopilot. A small red dot, a vibration, a faint sound. These little cues have trained the mind like a bell trains a dog. It becomes less about curiosity and more about compulsion. a cycle that leaves you more restless than when you began. What's striking is not just that these signs exist, but that we've normalized them. We brush them off as harmless quirks of a connected life. Feeling anxious after scrolling? Everyone does. Checking your phone every few minutes? That's just modern living. Staying available for work emails late into the night? That's professionalism. The truth is, what should concern us deeply has become invisible, because we've convinced ourselves it's simply the way things are. But just because something is common doesn't mean it's healthy. Think about it. If every bird in the forest was singing under the orders of a frog, and each one grew weaker, would we say, that's just nature? Or would we realize something precious is being lost? Technology-related mental strain is much the same. It's so widespread that we mistake it for normal life. But beneath the surface, it erodes focus, peace, and joy. Why do we ignore it? Partly because it's hard to notice what creeps in slowly. If one day your phone suddenly demanded 8 hours of your attention, you'd rebel. But when it demands it in minutes scattered across the day, you barely notice the theft. Another reason is that society celebrates constant connection. The person who replies to emails at midnight is seen as dedicated. The friend who documents every outing is seen as lively. The one who steps away, who sets limits, is often labelled distant or unambitious. So we keep performing, telling ourselves it's harmless, even as our inner nightingale grows faint. Let's bring this closer. Imagine sitting at dinner with a loved one. The food is warm, the conversation flowing, until a buzz interrupts. You glance at your phone. It's nothing urgent, but your attention has shifted. Even after putting it down, part of your mind stays hooked, waiting for the next buzz. The moment in front of you is still there, but it's thinner now, less whole. This is the hidden cost of compulsive connection. Not just lost time, but fragmented presence. Or picture lying in bed after a long day. Your body is tired, but your thumb is awake, scrolling. One post leads to another, then another, until the glow of the screen is the only light in the room. Hours slip by. Your eyes sting, your mind races, and yet you can't stop. By the time you finally put it down, sleep doesn't come easily. You wake the next morning already depleted. This cycle repeats itself so often that exhaustion becomes normal. But it's a normal we shouldn't accept. The strain shows up at work too. An employee checks their inbox obsessively, fearing they'll miss an update. Every ping triggers a small spike of stress. They start replying faster, not better. Their creativity dims, but their anxiety grows. They may look productive from the outside, but inside they are stretched thin. This is the paradox of digital work culture. The more connected we are, the less grounded we feel. So the question becomes, how do we loosen technology's grip without rejecting it completely? After all, unlike the frog, technology isn't inherently malicious. It has given us connection, convenience, knowledge, and opportunity. But like the nightingale, we must learn to sing on our own terms, not according to every external demand. The cure is not escape, but balance. The first step is awareness. Just as the nightingale didn't realize how much the frog was taking from her, we often don't see how much technology shapes our minds. Start noticing when you pick up your phone without intention. Notice the small shift in mood after scrolling. Notice how many times you break your focus to check something trivial. This awareness is not about guilt, it's about reclaiming choice. The second step is creating boundaries, small but firm. It could be as simple as charging your phone outside the bedroom, so your mornings and nights belong to you. not to the screen. It could be setting specific times for checking messages instead of responding the instant they arrive. It could be turning off non-essential notifications so your attention isn't constantly hijacked. These are not grand gestures. They are quiet acts of protection, ways of guarding your inner song. Another practice is to shift the way we use technology from passive to purposeful. Instead of scrolling aimlessly, choose to engage with what nourishes you. A thoughtful article, a podcast that lifts you, a message to someone who matters. Technology itself is neutral. It's the way we wield it that makes the difference. When you use it to create, learn, or connect deeply, it feels lighter. When you use it without direction, it often leaves you more restless than before. We can also retrain our relationship with comparison. Social media will always showcase highlights, but what we see is not the full truth. Behind every perfect post is a human life with its own struggles, doubts, and imperfections. The nightingale didn't need the frog's validation to sing. Her song was already beautiful. In the same way, we don't need online applause to confirm our worth. Begin reminding yourself, what you see is a window, not the whole house. And when the fear of missing out strikes, practice turning it into the joy of missing out. Instead of fearing what you're not part of, celebrate the richness of what you are part of. The quiet evening at home, the walk in the park, the moment with family. These are not lesser. They are life itself. When you shift the lens from scarcity to abundance, the ache of missing out softens into peace. Above all, remember that your mind is like a lantern. It shines steadily when given space, but flickers and burns out when tampered with too often. If you allow it moments of rest, moments of silence, it will glow brighter, guiding you with clarity. Technology should serve as the oil for that lantern, not the thief that drains it. So perhaps the lesson is simple but profound. We must learn to sing again, not for the frogs of the digital world, but for ourselves, to reclaim the joy of being present, to rediscover the freedom of choosing when to engage, and to protect the voice within us that grows faint under constant strain. Technology is here to stay, but so is our ability to shape how we live with it. Step by step, choice by choice, we can move from compulsion to intention, from exhaustion to balance. And when we do, we'll find that our song, like the nightingale's, was always enough.